All good? Okay. So, is there any difference between my voice yesterday and today? Is it clear today? Hi, Sumit. Is it better today? Okay, much clear. Okay, thank you. So, we'll continue from yesterday's class. So, in the yesterday's class, we have seen that how the solar system has been formed. Now, in the today's class, see, you guys have attempted. Sumit has written an answer on this question, but I will also show you a sample. Did you guys see the way in which I have written the answers? I sent you a PDF. I have sent you a video as well. In the video, I have told you how to write the answer. What should be there in the introduction? What should be there in the conclusion? Did you see that? You have seen the PDF. Others, please reply. Hafiz, Nanda. Yes, right? So that is how the answer should look like. And Sumit, in fact, I'll appreciate you for writing such an answer in the first attempt. In fact, after 1 or 2 years of UPSC preparation, I was able to write an answer like you have written, Sumit. So I really appreciate that. But again, our aim is not that. Now, did you find any difference between the answers which I have written and the answers which you have written? You see a clear-cut distinction, right? Okay. So, in that direction, yesterday when I told you, include as many diagrams as possible, split the question into various parts, and add headings, side headings. Okay, that is very important. Now, for the same question, I will tell you what to write in introduction. How you should structure the answer. So, what kind of things you should be writing. Okay. So, let's write a sample answer for the question which I given you yesterday. So, even though this question will not be asked, still, we are discussing it because you will get to know. Even if you get, some question which is out of your range, you should be able to answer the question. Okay. So, all of you should make an attempt when I tell you, write some answer. You should write the answer. So, every year, my notes keep on changing. I don't keep things static. So, depending upon, what kind of things are currently in the news, based on that, I decide the curriculum, what should be taught, etc. So, you can start writing the answer. Introduction. See, introduction should really introduce your answer. It should really introduce. So, just like a movie, when you see a movie, you see a hero introduction, or the story opens up with certain lines. Now here we want to talk about the formation of the solar system. Solar system formation. Okay. So this formation is the body part. Body part. Then in the conclusion, so either you have to identify a problem and then also give a solution. So this should be solution oriented and futuristic. I won't say, many people will be saying that no, it should be always positive, always positive. आप यहाँ पे किसी का भजन नहीं कर रहे हो. And you have seen, as far as my subject is concerned, I am very much clear that things are asked in the negative connotation only, because in geography and environment there are numerous problems. And as a civil servant, you have to solve these problems. So, it should be solution oriented and futuristic. You have a problem solver now. You have to step into the shoes of the administrator or district collector. And then, you have to solve the problem. Now, introduction. So, introduction, you should not directly talk about this Laplace and Kant, what they have said. So, will you, reveal the story in the intro itself? Okay, who has done the murder? Okay, you will reveal in the beginning itself. You will not do that, right? Sometimes in the question they will be asking, okay, do you agree, discuss? Some people will be directly starting, yes, I agree with what you have said. Or, no to nahi bolenge. Yes, I agree. Then they will start. It's like you are revealing the murderer in the beginning of the movie itself, and then you are telling a story. Okay. Now, okay, write down the introduction. Someone please, okay, give me a lead, because when I dictate you, there should be someone who should be leading me, because when to pause, when to dictate means indirectly बोल रहा हूँ कि कोई ना कोई मुझे चेहरा दिखाओ. Do it. No one? Camera problem, Sumit Bose. Okay, Hafiz, very good. Chalo. So, write down, start. There are numerous theories. There are numerous theories which explain the formation of the universe. Formation of the universe. Formation of universe. Some are evolutionary, some are evolutionary, oblique gradual. Means evolution happens, okay, in a very slow and steady way, in a gradual way. And some are revolutionary or sudden. The formation of the universe cannot be just explained. By any one theory. Nevertheless, the Big Bang theory explains most of the phenomena. Big Bang theory explains most of the phenomena. Okay? Now, next, give a heading, okay, and subheading. So, nebular accretion theory, okay, by Laplace and Kant. Nebular accretion theory by Laplace and Kant. Box it, always box it. Okay. In this, again, A1 or something you put. The first stage will be solar nebula. So this is your page, this is your margin. So this is how you should be writing. So beside this, you should be having a diagram. Again, whenever you draw a diagram, box it. So this is the solar nebula with a lot of dust, hydrogen, helium. Okay, draw this first. And if you're drawing something, just write 1 or 2 sentences here. Don't overwrite, because you are showing here, saying less. The solar nebula did not just have hydrogen and helium. But also it had fine dust particles made of fine dust particles. In the bracket you write silicates. Fine dust particles, in the bracket you write silicates. See, here I am trying to reduce as many words as possible. Okay. So next is B. Again give a side heading, again draw diagram. These tiny particles, these tiny silicates, oblique particles, always give a wide scope to the examiner, because none of the theories are established, right? No one knows what is right. इसलिए एग्जामिनर को क्या सोचना है वो सोचने दो, right? So actually most of them are silicates, but examiner may differ. You can also have iron, calcium, something of that sort, that also can be there. Oblique particles, so always give a wide range of scope. So let them imagine, let the examiner imagine what they want to imagine. So these are the various tricks of writing answer. So where was I? What was I saying? These tiny particles or silicates, either because of gravity or because of electrostatic forces. Collided with each other, and they formed the planetesimals. Now you show something of this sort. Okay, you have dust particles, etc. They all combine together, and finally they will be forming a planetesimal. Okay, now see, collision of planetesimals. Again here draw a diagram where these various planetesimals, they'll be colliding with each other, and then they'll become hot, and it will acquire momentum, angular moment. Collision of planetesimals. See, if it is in this format, do you think the examiner will take the pain of reading everything? No, right? They'll just see the diagrams, headings, subheadings, whoosh, you'll be happy, because you are reducing the strain of the examiner. The planetesimals collide with each other collide with each other and fuse into each other and fuse into each other. Forming semi-molten heavy objects. Semi-molten heavy objects. Eventually which become the terrestrial planets. Eventually which become the terrestrial planets. Next point, change para. Similarly, the gases, the frozen gases fuse into each other. Forming Jovian planets. Forming the Jovian planets. Next point, the solar wind clears the dust and the debris. Pushing it to the periphery. Next one, asteroid and Kuiper belt. Okay, draw 4 dots here and then 1 belt here, then 4 circles, then you have draw 1 more belt here and box it. This is where you have sun. If you are using the colors in your notes, that would be great. This is the sun and this is the asteroid belt and this is the Kuiper belt. See, you know everything, okay, you know most of the things here, but in the answer you need not necessarily write everything. Write those things which most of the people don't write, highlight those things more, and eventually you should be having a flow and there should be logical connectivity. The planetesimals which fail to form a planet, eventually become the asteroids and the objects in the Kuiper belt. Next, see, make sure that you are running into 2 pages and finally at the end of the second page you should be having space for conclusion. Okay, since I don't know how many I have dictated, tell me when you are ending, okay, when you are about to finish, okay, a second page, in the second page, if 30% of the page is left for conclusion, then let me know. Till then, I'll be dictating points. I can dictate into 10 pages also, I can dictate into 1 page also. So next is terrestrial planets. Terrestrial planets. These are mostly silicates. These are mostly silicates. Smaller in size. Smaller in size. Found near to the sun. Near to the sun. Now, if you want to make a diagram here, you can make. So, as it is, you can draw sun, and then you can draw these 4 objects. And indirectly, you can convey a lot to the examiner. When you are drawing Mercury, the size of the Mercury should be small. And when you are drawing Venus, Venus size should be comparatively large. Then you have drawing Earth. Earth and Venus should be of same size. And Mars should be 1/3 of the Earth. So, indirectly, you are conveying a lot of information. And sun, okay, whenever you draw, okay, you can use yellow color. Right? Next, Jovian planets. Jovian planets. These are gaseous objects. These are gaseous objects. Mostly made up of hydrogen, helium. Mostly made up of hydrogen and helium. Now, if you want to show some extra GAN, extra knowledge, so what you can dope here? The place where you have written, okay, this hydrogen, helium, in the bracket you can write remnants of solar nebula. Remnants of solar nebula. So, without wasting many sentences, if you want to express, if you want to dope in any information, you dope in. And also methane H2S, and also methane H2S, etc. These are large. These are large. Frozen. Frozen. And mostly lack. Always keep your sentences open-ended. Mostly lack a solid surface. Mostly lack a solid surface. So, okay, how much space is remaining in the second page? Because we are targeting for 10 marker. Is there space left for conclusion, or you can include one more point there? What is more page? Okay, write the conclusion. Okay, you can include as many points you want. All right, this is how, okay, I'm telling you, okay, the 11 more page. See, on one page, you should not be crossing more than 90 or 100 words. I've sent you the PDF. Follow that only. I think you're writing the third page, Nanda Kumar. See, I send you a document, right, PDF. Follow that only. That font size, okay, that heading, subheading, ditto, copy that only. Conclusion you write. So conclusion should be, okay, you should be exactly concluding the answer, and it should be also futuristic. So We're talking about the formation of the solar system, right? The age of the universe, is 13.8 billion years. And of which the solar system is around 5 billion years old. Solar system is 5 billion years old. See, here we are talking about the formation of the solar system, and we want to know exactly how it is formed, but till now we exactly don't know how it has been formed. But in future we are sending a lot of satellites and probes, right? So that is somewhat futuristic. So we have been sending probes onto the Saturn, onto Jupiter, onto the asteroid belt. So by these things we are getting to know, right? This is kind of futuristic, right? So those things we'll put in the second part of the introduction, right? So the first part of conclusion. The first part of the conclusion should actually conclude whatever you have written above, and second part should be futuristic. Means if you really become an administrator, now they are indirectly asking you a question: how will you find out how the solar system has been formed? Do you have any ideas? I know. The recent scientific probes by the space agencies, especially into the asteroid belt, reveal the secrets, or revealing the secrets about the formation of the solar system. And also the telescopes like James Webb can look into the past as well as the future. If at all a question is asked, with respect to the formation of the solar system, so this is how it should be. Understood? Now, we will talk about the various planets of the solar system. So here also indirectly you'll be getting a lot of concepts. So initially I'm going a bit slow, because you have to catch up with the pace. So if I run, then it will become difficult for you. The first planet is Mercury. Give a heading: Mercury. So one or two sentences, and also we'll see the important missions which have been sent to the planets. Don't give a heading. We'll talk about something else. So how many planets are there according to you? How many planets? 8 planets. Right, what if I show you a news that, okay, there can be a 9th planet as well? See, Caltech, California Institute of Technology. So, Caltech on 9th planet. You can see the news here. So you really have to believe in such kind of things. So Caltech researchers find evidence of the 9th planet. Now with what kind of evidence they have come, I have a picture here. If you can understand this, it would be great. Look here. If you look at the orbits of various planets, see. So these are the 8 planets which we have. And the CG, the center of gravity of these 8 planets on one side. That means there should be a 9th planet somewhere, which is balancing this center of gravity. Now you may ask, why it is not visible? Maybe its time period of rotation is very high, time period of revolution is very high. Okay? Or it might be some dark matter. Or it might be some miniature black hole which is having heavy mass. So black hole has, normal black hole which has immense amount of mass, almost infinite mass. So this can be some miniature black hole. You never know. You must have seen some sci-fi movies, okay, in which they go to a point in the universe somewhere, okay, in the space somewhere, and suddenly they disappear if they go into that point. I guess Manifest or some movie like that. Right? Okay, maybe this miniature black hole, when it comes near to the Earth's atmosphere, when you get into that zone, you will disappear in the black hole. And when you get into a black hole, you can travel in space-time. Means you can go to any point in the space, you can go into any time period, aage, piche, where. That is again, theoretically it has been proven, scientifically it hasn't been proven. Something called as wormhole, etc. Even wormhole has been asked in prelims once. Write down. According to Caltech, there's a probability of having a 9th planet. 9th planet. Because, don't write because, otherwise you write. Otherwise, the center of gravity of the planets does not lie in between. Does not lie in between. Okay. Now let's talk about various planets here. Mercury. So Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. So what must have happened? The Mercury will be heavily bombarded. It will be having so many craters because the force of gravity will be very high here. So whatever will be hitting Mercury here, any object which is hitting Mercury, it will cause a lot of craters over Mercury. And since it is very near to the Sun, the solar wind will be very harsh. That is, the radiation which is coming from the Sun, it will be very high. So because of which, whatever little bit of atmosphere, the Mercury will be having, it will be all stripped off. So it hardly has any atmosphere. So when it will not be having an atmosphere, the face which is facing the Sun will be extremely hot, and the face which is not facing the Sun will be extremely cold, right? And since it is extremely small, it does not have enough gravity to hold the atmosphere also. So these are some of the logical points which can be asked in the prelims examination. Understood every point here? Any clear? Any doubt? Shall write down. So only exam oriented, pre-oriented points, okay, I'll be writing. Closest to the sun, okay, if you want to write, you can write. Closest to the sun. Again, the bracket you can write, see, simply you should not be writing a factual statement. Okay, with that factual statement, you should be able to derive something else also. So closest to the sun, in the bracket you write, despite being closest, it is not hottest. Despite being closest, it is not the hottest. Now you are saying the word hot, it is not hottest, then you should also talk about temperature. So everything should be logically connected. So again the bracket you write, daytime temperature 427 degrees centigrade, night time minus 173, 180, you can write whatever. Now after this, what statement, okay, what point should come, tell me. Naturally, what point should, there should be a flow. You should not blindly write any point. Now your natural curiosity should be, why it is having extremes of temperature. The next point should be, because it hardly has any atmosphere. Practically no atmosphere, you write. Practically no atmosphere. Why? Again, next, what should be logical statement next? Practically no atmosphere because of solar winds. Because of solar winds. So here you are implying that it is very near to the sun. So since it is very near to the sun, we will be having a lot of craters also. Next point you write. Surface filled with impact craters. Surface filled with impact craters. So write one or two missions. Messenger and BP Colombo. Messenger and BP Colombo. So next planet is Venus. See, Venus and Earth, they are called as twins because they are similar in size, similar in weight. Now why Venus is called as evening star? Why? Because the Venus has a very thick atmosphere which has SO2, and remember, wherever you will be having SO2, sulfur dioxide, it will be having albedo, reflective capacity, because it acts like a mirror, okay, if I want to tell you in very layman's terms. So that's why it is called as evening star, because it shines, because SO2 shines. Okay, write down some points here. Now despite not being, okay, the closest planet, it is the hottest planet. Why it is hottest? Because around 96% of the atmosphere of the Venus, it is made up of carbon dioxide. That is the second nearest planet to the sun. But okay, being second nearest also, why it has atmosphere? Firstly, one reason is, okay, the size is larger, means gravity is high, therefore it will be able to hold the atmosphere. And most of the atmosphere is made up of CO2, carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is heavy. So carbon dioxide cannot be stripped away that easily. So if you understand this logical connectivity, then you will be able to answer the questions in prelims. Because it is humanly impossible to mug up all the information, impossible. And whenever UPSC is asking such kind of questions, okay, it is based on logical connectivity. So logic is very important, and such logic is not explained anywhere. And even if you are not dictating logic, you guys write the logic, because this logic is not present in any textbook which you will be reading, because they won't be having that much time to write everything. Write down. Also called as evening star. also called as evening star. In the bracket you can write, the sulfuric acid clouds have high albedo. Sulfuric acid clouds have high albedo. So what do you mean by albedo here? So in the margins you can write, albedo means the reflective capacity of a surface. Albedo is the reflective capacity of a surface. Now again, see this, okay, you have read. Now tomorrow UPSC is giving which of the following, okay, can reduce the temperature on the surface of the earth. Say they are saying spraying SO2 into the atmosphere. Say spraying SO2, sulfur dioxide, in the upper layers of the atmosphere. Is it right or wrong? Because just now we have seen, if you are having SO2, okay, SO2 will get converted to SO3. SO3 becomes H2SO4, sulfuric acid. So when you are having, okay, this in the atmosphere, it will reflect the sunlight. It will not allow the sunlight to fall on the surface of the earth. So in the margins you write the application. See, UPSC, whenever they will be asking you questions, it will be based on implications only. Directly you will not be reading anywhere. Indirectly you have to apply the knowledge. In the margins you write. UPSC has previously asked this. That's why I am telling you. So previously in UPSC Prelims, they have asked about thinning of cirrus clouds. Thinning of the cirrus clouds. And it is done by spraying SO2 into the atmosphere. And it is done by spraying SO2 into the upper atmosphere. So this is how, okay, knowledge will be indirectly helpful to you. See, directly they may not be asking the, okay, properties, okay, of, okay, Mars, Venus, etc. They will not be asking that way. Next point. It is called as Earth's twin. It is called as Earth's twin because of similar size and mass. Because of similar size and mass. So this you underline. Despite being the second planet, it is the hottest. It is the hottest. In the bracket you write, because 96% of atmosphere is CO2. Because 96% of the atmosphere is CO2. Next, it has a very thick crust. It has a very thick crust. And which does not allow the plate tectonics. Plate tectonics means plate movements. Plate tectonics. See, yesterday we talked about the residual heat inside the planets. Even the Venus will be having residual heat. So the heat which is there inside, that is somehow it has to be dissipated out. So how that heat can be dissipated out? Through volcanism. Okay. The heat transfer is majorly through volcanism. Through volcanism. So some of the important missions you write. Important missions. Akatsuki, Shukrayan. So next is the moon. Now you must have seen this picture earlier. So when the earth was still red hot, there were so many planetesimals which were hitting the earth. So around 4 or 4.4 billion years ago, a very big object has come and hit the earth, and because of that hitting, because of that impact, the part of the earth has been separated out. And that part which has been separated out, okay, it has become moon. So we can say that the moon is the baby of the earth. It is born out of the earth. So moon's composition is very similar to that of earth. Okay, write down moon. It is formed around 4.4 billion years ago. 4.4 billion years ago, due to the collision. So distance is around 380,000 kilometers. 380,000 kilometers. See, you have to remember so many figures in UPSC. You can link one information with the another. Now this 380,000, this magic number, okay, has come somewhere. Yesterday we have seen this. So what has happened around 380,000 years ago? Acha. That is 3 into 10 to the power of 8, Mr. Sumit. Okay, fine. Yesterday we discussed, right? 380,000 years ago, means after the Big Bang, what has happened? If you can't recall, you can look into a notebook and tell me. So this is how you will be linking, okay, one figure with the another. And if you want for some magic figures, you can write down in the margins. In the margins you can write some magic figures. Yes, recombination, very good. So I'll tell you some figures here, okay, very similar to each other. See, the distance between sun and moon is 150 million kilometers. Okay, write this in the margins. And average temperature of the surface of the earth is 15 degrees centigrade. Right? The distance of the Lagrangian points, okay, later on you'll understand what is this, okay, Lagrangian point, it is 1.5 million kilometers, 1.5 million kilometers away. So these are some of the points here. So this is how you can remember the figures. So coming back to the moon here. So moon is tidally locked with the earth. Moon is tidally locked with the earth. What do you mean by tidally locked? You will be able to see only one side of the moon. Later on you will understand these things better in science and technology. I am just telling you one sentence. Moon is tidally locked with the earth. In the bracket you can write, only one side of the moon is visible from earth. Only one side of the moon is visible from the earth. Means other sides we can never see. The other side which we cannot see is also called as far side of the moon. In the bracket if you want to write, you can write. The side which we cannot see is called as the far side of the moon. So there are so many conspiracy theories which say that on the far side of the moon aliens live. They are watching the earth. Okay, like they are watching the Big Boss show. Okay, they are thinking in how these humans stupid are. They are fighting wars for no reason. ISRO has sent a rocket not to the far side of the moon. It has sent to the south pole. Chandrayaan 3 went to the south pole. China is sending on the far side. So this much information is sufficient enough. Okay, important missions you can write. So USA's important mission is Artemis. Artemis, USA. India का Chandrayaan 1, 2, 3. And Russia's missions are Luna. And China का भी लिख लो. China's missions are Chang'e. It's not change, it is Chang'e. So next is Mars. So you see Mars then and Mars now. So once upon a time Mars was just like Earth. Mars had oceans, Mars had atmosphere, Mars had plate tectonics, Mars had mountain formations, it had rivers, depositional features, everything. Probably it must have had life also. So probably it must have had life also. But today the Mars has become a dead planet. Now why do you think Mars has become dead planet? If somebody tells me this, then you'll clear prelims in the first attempt itself. Think. This thinking is very important. Because only for 30 questions you'll be having a direct answer. Very good. Okay, Nanda Kumar, good. Absence of atmosphere. So atmosphere, okay, has been lost or stripped off. Now why the atmosphere has been lost or stripped off? Because if you see the Mars is 1/3 of the size of the Earth. So earlier during this time, this is around 3 billion years ago. During that time, the Mars had residual heat. Means inside Mars there was heat. As long as you are having residual heat, means as long as you are having core, molten core inside, you will be having a magnetic field around it. And the magnetic field will be protecting you from the solar radiation. Protecting from solar wind. Because since it is smaller in size as compared to the Earth, so the core has completely cooled down. The core is frozen inside. So when the core freezes, when it becomes completely solid, you will be losing this magnetic field. Once the magnetic field is lost, the powerful solar winds There will be stripping of the atmosphere first. And when the atmosphere is lost, whatever water was there, it will be evaporated. And finally, it will become a dead planet without any life. So today, if you see on the surface of the Mars, you will see a lot of glacial deposits. You will see riverine deposits. You will see a lot of sedimentary rocks. And probably it must have had life also. But again, to find the fossils, it has taken place around 2.5 billion years ago. It is very difficult. And Elon Musk earlier said that he's gonna establish a colony on the Mars, okay, by 2022. That was before COVID. I don't know where his focus is now. So in the future, we might find fossils as well on the surface of the Mars. Write down. It is called as red planet. It is called as red planet. Now wherever you see the word red, okay, it is because of ferrous content. Bracket it, right? Because of Fe2 plus. Fe2 plus. So average temperature is minus 67 degrees centigrade. It has thin atmosphere, but 95% is CO2. 95% is CO2. Gravity is 1/3 of the Earth. Gravity is 1/3 of the Earth. The next very important point. Once upon a time, that is around 2.5 billion years ago. 2.5 billion years ago, Mars was just like Earth, with oceans, atmosphere, rivers, etc. But now they are lost because the core froze. And it lost its magnetic field. It has two moons, okay, Phobos and Deimos. Mars is smaller than Earth, but still it has two moons, Phobos and Deimos. So important missions, okay, India's mission is MOM is Mars Orbiter Mission. MOM. And Chinese is Tianwen 1. Tianwen 1. So next is the asteroid belt. Asteroid belt. Located between Mars and Jupiter. Located between the Mars and Jupiter. It has millions of rocky objects. Millions of rocky objects. In the bracket you can write, smaller than Burj Khalifa. Which were the leftover material. From this solar system formation. Solar system formation. Now they are drifting, around the sun. Sometimes they might be falling, they might be shooting towards the earth also. So it is because of the Jupiter's gravity is holding most of the objects. So without Jupiter, they might have come towards the earth. Right on, next point. Without Jupiter's gravity, they will get directed into Earth's atmosphere. So largest of this object is Ceres. Largest object in the asteroid belt is Ceres. Now you have important missions like, in this you have important missions like Dawn and Lucy. Now what do this Dawn and Lucy do? See, if you want to find out the origin of the solar system, if you want to find out, how the universe existed around 5 billion years ago, if you want to find out how the life on the earth has emerged, you have to go and see these objects. Because they have been preserved in the same form. Because they are very far away from the sun, the sunlight cannot reach to wear and tear them. Neither do they have any, wind, rivers to destroy the rocks, no volcanism. So they are preserved in the same form. So they are kind of the fossils of the universe. So write down the missions like Dawn and Lucy. Missions like Dawn and Lucy are trying to find the origin of the solar system. How life evolved, etc. Because these objects have been preserved, in the same form from the past 5 billion years. If something has been preserved in the same form for a very long time, it's also called as time capsule. In the margins you can write this, time capsule. So sometimes in prelims they can ask you, time capsule recently seen in the news is associated with what, etc. So next one is Jupiter. You see the Jupiter here. So Jupiter is comparatively large. In fact, most of the Jupiter is made up of either hydrogen or helium. Most of it is hydrogen. Now, if you want immense amount of energy, because hydrogen is going to be the fuel of the future. Even now, the CNG is infused with hydrogen. And hydrogen fuel cells are also being used in India. So hydrogen is going to be the ultimate fuel. Now if you want to have fuel, they can get the fuel from hydrogen in the future. You can mine the solar system in the future. Today we are able to send the probes into the asteroid belt, and these probes have gone into the asteroid belt and they have got the samples back. And today they are just getting a sample. Tomorrow they might just go, you will find a rock which is purely made up of diamond, which is purely made up of gold. It will put a catapult or something, and then it will drag that towards the earth. So this also can be possible. In future, the asteroid belt can be a zone of resource. In fact, today we are mining on the surface of the earth. Tomorrow we can mine in the solar system, whatever materials we want. And some advanced civilization. The theory has been given by Dyson. He has given various levels of civilization, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So level 1 civilization will be able to mine their own solar system, their own star system. Level 2 civilization will be able to mine any resource which is present in their galaxy. Means that much of technology they will be having. Level 3 is entirely different, level 4 is entirely different. So according to Dyson, there are various civilizations which are much intelligent than humans, according to him. Right? Yes, Chao, Nanda Kumar, you are right. So there are so many diamonds. Some objects are completely made up of iron, some are completely made up of carbon. For example, Bennu is completely made up of carbon, etc. So Jupiter, largest planet, mostly made up of hydrogen, helium. Mostly made up of hydrogen, helium. Now, which planet is famous for rings? Saturn, right? But all the Jovian planets have rings. In Saturn it is much more visible. It has faint rings. Faint rings. In the bracket you can write, all Jovian planets have rings. All Jovian planets have rings. Strongest magnetic field among all planets. Strongest magnetic field of all planets. Now there is something special about Jupiter. On Jupiter you have something giant red spot. And the giant red spot, it has a cyclone which is going on for years. And the cyclone is not fading away. And the wind speed, in this cyclone are one of the highest on the surface of the earth. And why it is happening, nobody knows. And the size of this, giant red spot is around the size of the earth. Right down. It has a great red spot. Great red spot. Which has storm for centuries. Which has a storm for centuries. Now its satellites are important, especially Europa and Ganymede. Europa and Ganymede. These are important. Others, if you want to note down, you can note down. Its important satellites are Europa and Ganymede. Ganymede. Now, why they are important? Because you see, the Titan has the highest amount of the water in the solar system. 11.4 times the size of Earth. Right? And Ganymede has 6.2. and Europa has 2.4 times the water than Earth. That's why it is important, because we are successfully destroying all the water which is there on the surface of the Earth, and the water will become very scarce. And in the future, if you want to go somewhere, then you need water. Humans need water. Then you can fetch water from here. Okay, why these are important? Write down this. Ganymede 6.2x and Europa 2.4x. So important missions here are Juno and JUICE. Juno and JUICE. So next is Saturn. It has obvious, the rings are very obvious. Mostly made up of hydrogen, helium. And helium. Major moon is Titan. 11.4x. So important mission here is Cassini-Huygens. Now, what is the importance of these satellites is, see, Jovian planets do not have a solid surface. So in the future, if you want to do an interplanetary travel, you have to take rest somewhere, you have to put your space station somewhere. Then the satellites, okay, because they have water, they'll be having solid surface. Write down. The Jovian planets do not have a solid surface. Jovian planets do not have a solid surface, but their moons have a solid surface. The bracket in right, because of the presence of water, because of the presence of ice, you can write ice water. Okay, and for interplanetary travel, they can act as base stations. Next is Uranus. It's also ice giant. Blue-green due to methane. See, one very unique feature here is, see, most of the planets now, they'll be having a tilt. They'll be rotating on this axis and they'll be having a tilt. Okay, Earth has a tilt of 23.5 degrees centigrade. But Uranus has 98-degree tilt, like this, means it appears as if it is rolling. When the earth is revolving around the sun, okay, rotates on its axis and then it moves. But Uranus, because of 98-degree tilt, it appears as if it rolls. That is uniqueness. I don't. Okay. It has an axial tilt of 98 degrees. It has axial tilt of 98 degrees. So when it revolves around the sun, it appears as if it rolls. Appears as if it rolls. Next is Neptune. Ice giant. Strongest winds in solar system. Strongest winds in solar system. I'm telling you only the most important points. So next is the Kuiper belt. So this is where you have, okay, where you have this Pluto, na? So this is where you have this Kuiper belt. Around Kuiper belt, it contains icy bodies, dwarf planets, comets, etc. And Pluto is a part of Kuiper belt. So next one is the Oort cloud. OORT CLOUD. Oort cloud. So it is the farthest part of the solar system. Means many scientists believe it, some scientists don't believe it. Oort cloud. Many believe it to be the edge of solar system. The edge of solar system, which is 10,000 AU away. 10,000 AU. AU means astronomical unit. Astronomical unit is the distance between the Earth and Sun. 10,000 AU away. So we'll not write anything beyond this. So next important concept here is, you can see the distance here. This is the Earth. Okay, this is where you have this the termination shock, heliopause, etc. And this is where you have the Oort cloud. And once you are finishing with all the planets, you have something called as interstellar medium. And the interstellar medium is made up of plasma. Why it is called as interstellar? Because you have one more star here. In fact, you have a star system here. Alpha Centauri, Proxima Centauri. Right? So these two are the nearest stars to the Earth. So distance between the two stars is called as interstellar medium. And this interstellar medium is made up of the plasma. Write down. The space between the two stars. The space between the two stars is filled with plasma filled with plasma. What is this plasma? Plasma is protons, electrons and neutrons. They are drifting freely. Means here atoms are not formed. Yesterday we have discussed this. It's filled with plasma and it is called as the interstellar medium. Interstellar medium. Now, one more important concept here. So these are the comets. See, in between the solar system, in between you have the sun. Here you have the sun. And then you have the Kuiper belt here. This is the Kuiper belt. And then far away you have the Oort cloud. This is the Oort cloud. Now the particles in the Kuiper belt and the particles in the Oort cloud, they are heliocentric. That means they revolve around the sun. But sometimes what happens, either because of the collisions here or here, either because they choose to skip the path, so they are directly attracted towards the sun and they become completely heliocentric. So sometimes some objects can shoot off from the Kuiper belt and they'll be having highly elliptical orbit and they'll start revolving like this. And sometimes the object can also come from the Oort cloud and they will start revolving around the sun again like this. And these objects are called as comets. If they are coming from the Oort cloud, these are called as long distance comets, and these are short distance comets. And what are comets made up of? The comets are made up of, so it will be having rock. It will have rock plus it will also have the volatiles. Volatiles such as ice, H2S, and other compounds, or sometimes hydrogen, etc. Volatiles means other gases it will be having. So whenever they will be shooting towards the sun, the volatiles will evaporate. When the volatiles will be evaporating, they will be leaving a tail behind. That's why comets will be having a tails. Sometimes they are also called as coma. So you have this coma, right? So they will look somewhat like this. Okay, you can draw this. Short distance, or you can also call them short period. Done? Write down what they are made up of. Anyways, you have written here. I will not be dictating again. And it's also very much evident. Okay, they come from the Oort cloud and they come from the Kuiper belt. So when the comet comes near to the sun, the heat vaporizes the volatiles. The heat vaporizes the volatiles, creating a glowing cloud. Around the nucleus. Around the nucleus means rock. Around the nucleus. Called as coma. Next point. The solar radiation and solar wind. The solar radiation and solar wind pushes the dust and gas away. Forming a tail. Right, one more sentence. The short period comets are usually less than 200 years. And the long period comets take thousands of years. So next important concept here is so this is how the comet looks like. Hope you can see. And comets will be having highly elliptical orbit. Write down this also. The comets have highly elliptical orbit. So next important concept is meteoroid, meteor and meteorite. So this blue planet is Earth. This is Earth, and the Earth will be having its own atmosphere. So this is all the atmosphere, and you can have some foreign objects. So this is a foreign object which is shooting towards the Earth. So outside the atmosphere, it is called as meteoroid. But once it enters into the atmosphere, it will start burning. Okay, and it will be called as meteor. Now, how the meteor is formed? It is formed because of the friction between the object and atmosphere. So this is also called as shooting star. Shooting star. Okay, don't call it burning star, Nandakumar. And but if the object is very heavy, sometimes it may not be burnt completely, and part of it can come and hit the earth, and this remnant which falls on the surface of the earth, this is called as meteorite. Okay, you can draw this. Once I got confused, okay, between shooting star and burning star. In the exam, once I have written burning star. In Telugu, you have all sorts of stars in Tollywood, right? You have a burning star also there, huh? Nandakumar. So write down the difference between these three. So do you have to explain? Anyways, it is very much evident, right? Write about a meteor. Meteor. When the meteoroid enters the Earth's atmosphere, and it starts burning. It starts burning. On daily basis, thousands of meteoroids shoot towards the earth, but almost all of them are consumed by the atmosphere. If it survives, it is called as meteorite. The meteorites also provide the evidences. Of the solar system and the universe. So this topic is over. I think I have discussed in detail. So you guys are getting practice questions also. You guys are getting extra notes also. So after listening to the class, if you are reading that material, I think everything should be clear to you. Is there any confusion, okay, in the notes which you are getting when you are reading the PMF IAS booklets? Are you getting any doubts? All right, all is clear, right? So any doubt from this topic? Any doubt? No doubt, right? So let's move into the next chapter. So next chapter's name is the rocks and minerals. Rocks and minerals. Okay. Now, what is the difference between a rock and a mineral? Again, the importance of this topic. See, once, okay, recently in the mains I have shown you a question. What are primary rocks? Explain them, discuss, they have asked the question. So here, the questions will come in the mains, and a lot of questions will also come from the prelims. In fact, this topic is the basis for the geomorphology. You'll find a lot of concepts. So what all things you'll be having? So questions will come, mains questions will come. Of course, prelims questions will come. And also it has lot of concepts. This topic has lot of concepts and extremely important. Extremely important. Now write down the questions which are related to this topic. So write down the first question. So which is in fact a previous year question. I'll show you that question. So this question, you can write 2022. Describe the characteristics and types of primary rocks. Write down this question. I'm telling you, for every subject you should be having such kind of preparation. Every topic, what kind of questions have been asked previously. In fact, I'll be discussing prelims related questions also. Okay, let me get a hold first. Because in the beginning itself we won't be able to discuss, because you require some level of understanding. Write down this question. And I'll tell you additional 2-3 questions which you should be practice. Done? So write down a few more questions here. What is rock cycle? What is a rock cycle? Next question. The igneous rocks are primary. Igneous rocks are primary, whereas the sedimentary and metamorphic rocks are part of rock cycle. Discuss. Third question. What is the economic importance of various types of rocks? importance of various types of rocks. See, write down in the margins, you have written the questions, right? In the margins you write down, even if they are just asking about rock cycle, you should also talk about the properties of the rocks and also economic importance of the rocks. And even if they are asking just about the primary rocks, you should talk about other rock types as well as their economic importance. So whatever may be the question, you should talk about the rock cycle, the properties of various rocks and their economic importance. And the weightage will differ. How much you talk about what, that will differ. For example, you have this question. Now they are asking, describe the characteristics and types of primary rocks. Do you think, you'll not talk about, when you are talking about characteristics, right, types, will you not talk about their economic importance, where all it will be used, what kind of property it has? What do you think, why they are asking all this? This question becomes very broad. Okay, once you do the topic, you'll understand. So, let's first understand the difference between the rock and a mineral. Now here, all of you have done mathematics, right? At least class 10th. You have done mathematics, right? Mathematics nahi kiya. Now you had, when I was doing mathematics, for me the most difficult topic, in fact irritating topic, was probability. In probability, there's a famous question. There's a jar which is filled with, blue, green and red marbles, right? Now, okay, it has 20 this marbles, 30 that, 50 that. If you take out this marble for the first time, 9th time, what is the probability of getting green marble? Something of that sort of questions were there. Now imagine the jar. Now, if you have a jar like that, and in this jar, if you are having these things arranged in a certain fashion, so there is a regular arrangement of elements here. Means this keep on repeating. For example, this is one block. So this is one block. Similarly, these blocks keep on repeating. So when they keep on repeating, this becomes a mineral. Means a mineral will be having a chemical formula. And mostly the minerals will be in the form of the crystals. And the chaotic mixture of these minerals, it becomes rock. So since it has got a chemical formula, since it has got a certain crystal structure, it has got a definite melting point. Whereas rock is having various minerals, and every mineral will be having a different melting point. Therefore, it has a range of melting points. So as far as geography is concerned, okay, note down these differences between rock and mineral. Write down this. Now give a side heading mineral. Give a heading mineral. The minerals can be oxides. Minerals can be oxides. In the bracket you write such as hematite, magnetite, etc. Can be oxides. They can be sulfides, such as galena. Galena is lead oxide, lead sulfide. They can be sulfides. They can be sulfates. Sulfates. Example is gypsum. Gypsum. They can be carbonates. Carbonates. Example is dolomite. Dolomite. But for geography, silicates are most important. But for geography, silicates are most important. Now, what are the examples of these minerals? Why geography silicates are important? Because 90% of the Earth's crust, 90% of the Earth's crust is made of silicates. Example. Now, when you are writing example, don't write the example. In fact, you draw. So this is the core. Okay. Now at least the crust and mantle, right? So when you are going deep inside the earth, in the upper layers, you will be having feldspar. All these are silicates. Quartz, mica, amphibole, pyroxene, olivine. If you can remember this order, well and good. So feldspar, quartz, mica, amphibole, pyroxene, olivine. So quartz and feldspar are also almost similar. You can remember, take this acronym and remember. Okay, FQ MAPO, something like that. So these are the various types of minerals, and all these are silicates, and 90% of the crust is made up of silicates. Now look at the properties of the silicates. So generally have three types of silicates. Three large groups of silicates. And these things you will not find it in any NCERT. Okay, you will not find in any textbooks which you will be reading. None of the geography textbooks will find it. But they are very important for foundation. In fact, your entire volcanism, earthquakes, you will be able to explain from here. So pay attention here. So the three types of silicates, you have lighter silicates and you have heavier silicates, and then you have intermediate. So when you are going deep inside the earth, the silicates become heavier. So when you go deep in the earth, into the earth, silicates become heavier. In fact, while going deeper, all these points are very important. While going deeper into the earth, the silica means SiO2, the silica reduces, and metals is iron and magnesium increase. See, how does a typical silicate look like? The silicate is nothing but, the silicate is SiO2 is -2, right? And here you can have any metal. It can be any metal or any cation. So this cation here can be potassium, sodium, aluminium, calcium, or it can be magnesium, it can be iron, it can be anything. So usually lighter silicates, so these lighter silicates will be having more of sodium, potassium, aluminium, more of this. So lighter silicates have these cations, whereas heavier silicates, they are mostly composed of magnesium and iron. This thing is clear to everyone? Any doubt you are having, please ask. This is a very important concept. See, for making any mineral, you require positive, negative. Okay? The anion is silica. Silica is nothing but mitti. And the cation, is something positive ion. The sodium, potassium, aluminium are comparatively lighter. Intermediate, you have kind of calcium. And in heavier, you will be having more of magnesium and ferrous. Means, for example, heavier silicates is ferromagnesium silicates. So a heavier silicate, so these are called as ferromagnesium silicates. That's why heavier silicates are also called as mafic, because They are made up of ferromagnesian silicates, mafic. And the lighter silicates, these are called as felsic. They are called as felsic. The felsic word is derived from the word feldspar. This word is derived from the word feldspar. And when you are going deep inside the earth, okay, in the initial layers you will be having feldspar, quartz, mica, amphibole, pyroxene, olivine. This should be clear to you. Okay, in the beginning it may sound chaotic, but later on this will be helpful to you immensely. And this is not there, I'm telling you, okay, this is not there in any geography textbook explicitly. If you are taking out optional books, explicitly also it's not there. This is mostly from geology. But these concepts are extremely helpful to you. Because most of the geographers, okay, they belong to social sciences background. They don't know science. Since I know science, I know chemistry, myself I'm a chemical engineer. So that's why I'll be able to bring these concepts here. Any doubt here you can ask. Very important topic. If it is confusing you, then also let me know. So very simple, positive, negative. If in positive, you have sodium, potassium, lighter silicates. In positive, in cation, if you are having iron, heavier silicate. Heavier silicate is called as mafic. Mafic is magnesium iron. Fi, ferrous, ferric. And lighter silicate is called felsic, because of feldspar. And when you are going deep inside the earth, if you are digging deeper and deeper, you will be finding these minerals. This silicate is nothing but mitti. मिट्टी, सिलिका इज नथिंग बट मिट्टी है. नो ये मिट्टी किससे बना हुआ है? It will be having some what do you call elements, and these are the elements by which the silicate is made up of. For example, चूना बोलते हैं, limestone. What is limestone made up of? Sumit, I want you to answer. Calcium carbonate, CaCO3, right? So one positive will be there, one negative will be there, one cation will be there, one anion will be there. So even if you are not understanding now, later on gradually you will understand. I will tell you the properties of this. If you don't understand the chemistry part of it, don't worry, I will tell you the properties of this. So in simple words, if I want to tell you, a lighter silicate is made up of potassium and silica. Potassium plus silica, SiO2. What is the heavier silicate made up of? Iron and silica, SiO2. सोडियम तो पता है ना, नमक में होता है, ये नमक. अगर सोडियम के साथ आपका नमक का जो हिस्सा है, with that, if silica, mitti, you combine, that become lighter silicate. If you are combining mitti with iron, very simple example, analogy I'll give you. See, forget everything. Now मिट्टी ले लो, रेती, रेती है ना घर के बाहर, रेती पता रहता है, रेती नमक के साथ मिलाओ, ओके, एंड रेती को आयरन के साथ मिलाओ, आयरन. सो रेती विथ नमक is your lighter silicate, and the रेती with iron, loha, that becomes heavier silicate. As simple as that. Okay, as of now we understand this much only today. Others you understood? Hafiz? సంసారికనా മനസ്സിലായോ? Good. Nandakumar, is it clear? Okay. Do one thing, okay, if you're having any doubts in this, revise it once again, okay, and read it again tomorrow. I'll start from here only, we'll start. So tomorrow we'll be starting with, okay, rocks, what is the igneous type of rock, sedimentary type of rock, and metamorphic type of rock. If you want a reference, please go through the NCERT. In NCERT, there's a chapter of rocks and minerals. Go through a chapter called as rock cycle. In 11th class NCERT, you'll be finding it. So read that and come. And today you don't have to answer any question. Okay, you just go through the video which I have sent you. Okay, previous year questions video. Okay, 2025 which I have solved. Go through, you'll understand. Okay, how the pulse of the answer. Okay. Chalo then, see you tomorrow.